Could you tell the jury what the box is that has the property with the skull bones, property of JD?
That's Johnny's drug box. I've seen it used for pills, but at the time it was bags of Coke, like dime bags of Coke.
Okay. And what are these white lines on the table to the left of that box?
That is cocaine.
Okay. And do you know what is in these two glasses that have kind of a gold-colored liquor?
Yes, they're different, actually. It's confusing. They're different, different liquids. The one in the back in the larger glass is, I believe at the time I was doing these tabs. They're Barocca, that's what they're called. They're little tablets. And anyway, I remember at the time that's what I was putting in my water because I had just come back from France where they sell them. And then the brown liquid in the shot glass is Johnny's liquor. I don't know what it's called, but we kept it in the freezer. At the time, it was at that time, March 2013, I hadn't, I still didn't have the, hard line. I won't even keep that, in my freezer sort of attitude or posture with him. I wasn't that bold at the time, I didn't like it, but I didn't have that strength. I kind of, at that time, I think, was doing things like trying to pour it out when I could.
Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, it's really going to start falling to bits there. It's tricky to watch this one because it really does descend quite quickly. Starts off with "I believe." That's not very forceful. She believes that it was the tabs of, I think she says, Barocca. I've never heard of that drink, but I guess it's little tabs that create some kind of juice or drink or something. They come from Paris, apparently. She doesn't really need to tell us any of that. I mean, she's worried this will be quite confusing to us because to an observer, what you'll see there is two glasses. Apparently one is a shot glass. And I understand there's some foreshortening there and one glass will look a little bit bigger than one. But even so, to an observer like myself, I've seen a few glasses, and to an observer like myself, they look a fairly similar size. It looks like both people are drinking pretty much. I mean, I know it can be confusing. She's told me it can be confusing, okay? And she took me through how you go to Paris and you get stuff, and it kind of went on and on. That I stopped listening to a lot of it at one point because it didn't seem pertinent. But clearly it is pertinent that we need to understand that she's not having a drink. Yeah, that's what we need to understand, that he's got a shot glass and it's got Johnny's liquor in it. If I'd been with somebody for a while, I'd probably know what the liquor is. I'd probably know, though it's kept in the freezer or the fridge or whatever it is, I'd probably have a good idea what it is, because I'd be a drinker as well, like her. She has a drink now and again. Actually, from what I've heard, she has a few now and again. That's okay. I got no judgment about that. But it would be easier to say, so Johnny and I were both having a drink, okay? But that's not what comes across here. Johnny's got a shot glass and it's got Johnny's liquor in, and she's got something from Paris, something completely different. She says, look, that's his drugs tin and it's got Coke in it, dime bags of Coke. And what are those lines? Well, they're cocaine. And there's 4 of them. Well, either Johnny sets it up for his 4 nostrils, or Johnny sets it up to do a couple of lines and then very quickly a couple of others. And those are all possible. Or Amber's taking Coke as well. And that would be okay because, when you're partners, you tend to kind of do some of the same stuff. You have a drink together. If you do Coke, you're probably going to do some Coke, drugs together. At this point, I don't buy this story at all. I don't buy it at all. It's not a good description of what's going on. It doesn't make a lot of sense. There's too much overemphasis on trying to tell me the details, so I don't buy it. Look, for anybody who's into just lobbing in a really great conspiracy theory here as well, just because you may as well have some fun. If you want a great conspiracy theory, you could say it's all been set up in a Masonic hall. Have a look at that photograph and tell me why they set up the evidence in a Masonic hall. And send the money, please. Freemasons, please send me the money. Greg, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, so Mark, I think the reason we know something is going on is because she dramatically shifts baseline. She starts to separate herself from Johnny the monster. Now, this is, like you said, early on in their relationship, but she's separating herself from him. At the end of her description of what this is, she does some eye blocking and some requests for approval and a lip compression. She has a condemning face at cocaine. She does, maybe she's afraid of the perception of something that will happen because there's something hidden in there because her transition is much too rapid, more than normal, to your guys' point earlier. Then she starts rambling to make herself appear to be somebody else. That's out of baseline. She starts to give you too much detail. Well, I bought these in France, and this is a thing that people do in France. And well, I don't care about what they do in France. What's in those things? One is a bottle of some kind of drink, non-alcoholic, and the other is alcohol. Then, as she shifts gears to start to make herself a better person and to do some social signaling or some kind of, as she starts to virtue signal and say, look, I'm not the one, she starts this thing of I don't know how many times it happens, Chase, you may have counted, I think it's 5 or 6.
We kept it in the freezer. At the time, it was at that time, March 2013, I hadn't, I still didn't have the hard line. I won't even keep that, in my freezer sort of attitude or posture with him. I wasn't that bold at the time, I didn't like it, but I didn't have that strength. I kind of, at that time, I think was...
She's never done that before. So there's some way she's trying to distance and it makes her uncomfortable and it's filler for her. So immediately I would jump on that and say, hold on, what do you mean? And I would start taking that story apart. That stumbling over words and using filler words is there for a reason. Scott, what do you got? Or sorry, Chase, what do you got? Oh.
So here's a quick tip. If someone's telling you a story, process it through this lens. What is being concealed in that story? And in this instance, every flaw, every bad behavior, every possible hint at ever having made a mistake in her lifetime is absent. She's giving us a story of a flawless Disney princess who lived with Satan. And Baraka, just as a quick tip here, is like airborne in the U.S. It's like an immunity support effervescent. I have some in my kitchen, actually, that dissolve in water like an Alka-Seltzer. I'm pretty fancy. If you didn't know, I have Baraka here. But there's a large there's a large spike in uncertain language toward the end of her statement. This is the beginning of our discovery of her stress and deception baseline. So this is the big spike in what we're really looking for as interrogators and behavior profilers. Scott?
All right. The attorney says, tell the jury what's in the box. And she tells the attorney what's in the box. And she goes into detail about it. Not once does she look at the jury during that. However, when she gets to the part where she starts talking about her vitamin energy water, which is, you're right, I had to Google it. I didn't know what Baraka was, whatever it was. It's a multivitamin, as you know, and it gives her energy, and it's a health food. That's the way they see that. Also, she's coming on like she doesn't think alcohol is good. She sounded like, oh, that's alcohol. And she doesn't, and like Mark was saying, she doesn't know what's in it. Really? If she's going to say, well, hey man, what is that? At least if she's dating the guy or married to him at this point, you're going to know what's in there. And she acts like it's bad. She didn't want to tell him that she didn't want to keep it in her freezer. Come on, man. And then she's sitting there next to damn Scarface with all that blow lined out on the table. And she's coming on like, I don't know what, I'm drinking healthy water. I don't know what he's drinking. And that's all I got, because I just can't go any further than that.
Could you tell the jury what the box is that has the property with the skull bones, property of JD?
That's Johnny's drug box. I've seen it used for pills, but at the time it was bags of Coke, like dime bags of Coke.
Okay. And what are these white lines on the table to the left of that box?
That is cocaine.
Okay. And do you know what is in these two glasses that have kind of a gold colored liquor?
Yes, they're different, actually. It's confusing. They're different liquids. The one in the back in the larger glass is I believe at the time I was doing these tabs, or Baroka, that's what they're called. They're little tablets. And anyway, I remember at the time that that's what I was putting in my water because I had just come back from France where they sell them. And then the brown liquid in the shot glass is Johnny's liquor. I don't know what it's called, but we kept it in the freezer. At the time, it was at that time, March 2013, I hadn't, I still didn't have the, hard line. I won't even keep that, in my freezer sort of attitude or posture with him. I wasn't that bold at the time, I didn't like it, but I didn't have that strength. I kind of, at that time, I think was doing things like trying to pour it out when I could.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.